What's up, folks? We're here today with another podcast of Beer Freaks, and I am super excited to have my buddy PK on the show today. World traveler, jack of all trades, currently an engineer, but has done it all. All around awesome dude. So, ladies and gentlemen, Beer Freaks featuring PK.
Hey everybody, so appreciate you having me on today, Stu, man. Excited to get out here and actually experience the whole podcast you got going on. So,
well, welcome to the booth. And by the way, this will be our first video podcast, assuming everything works well. So we'll see. So, hi everybody.
What's up, folks?
We'll see if this works. So, dude, thanks for coming. What do you think of the booth?
Man, the booth is more than I expected. It's pretty pimp. So you got all the great little pictures in here and everything, and I can tell you put some serious work into this thing. I was expecting more just just
a box.
Yeah, just a little box.
That's what I thought it was gonna be for a while, because I was like, fuck, dude, I don't want to play around with this too much. Like, I feel like this thing could tip over at any moment. Don't worry, it won't.
We're safe.
It's gonna be good.
We're safe.
It's actually very stable. Like, once we put in all the final nails, like along the framing, like it was shaking up until like the last board was placed, and then as soon as you put that in, it just like ties it all together, and now you can't move this thing. Like,
no, I like it. I could come out here and chill even if we weren't doing a podcast.
Well, You can always come over and we just crack some beers in here. We don't have to podcast.
Perfect.
Although probably just turn the mic on and just see what happens.
Yeah,
just let it roll.
Those impromptu moments are what it's all about.
That's absolutely, man. So we got to get to the agenda.
Yep.
Although the show rarely follows an agenda, but there are important things, mostly because I want to start drinking.
Absolutely.
So before we jump into the beer, what I want you to do is at least just give me a little taste of what is the thing that keeps you up at night, because you haven't told me yet.
Yeah.
This is one of the, actually, almost every person has told me what their fear is before they get on the podcast. I'm like, no, don't tell me. I want to be surprised and see if it freaks me out. But you haven't actually told me yet.
Yeah. So it's a surprise to you. So if I'm being honest, like, there's really nothing that keeps me up at night and that scares me in terms of like a big catastrophic event or something that's
no nuclear war,
no
AI,
no AI affecting humanity, nothing like that really literally keeps me up at night. But sometimes, if you got a lot going on at work and you're stressed out, your mind starts racing and you can't get off it, that'll keep me up at night. But in general, there's no big thing that keeps me up at night. But I will say...
Podcast over. See you guys.
That was an easy one. Now it's just time to drink beer.
That's right.
No, but I would say, there's a lot of things out there that concern me a lot and that I'm scared of. And I would say, the biggest one for me overall is probably global overpopulation. Because
I love it.
That is something that, we're witnessing in real time. It's getting... worse and worse every year, and I think it can lead into so many other things.
Yeah.
That it's sort of I don't know what the right word is, but it's sort of the rising tide that raises all ships. It's sort of the rising tide that raises all catastrophic possibilities,
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, and we'll get into it more, but overpopulation is probably the root of almost all the major issues that we look at today. Global warming, lack of food. There's a better word for that I can't think of right now.
Yeah. No, that's
water issues, land. Everything can be traced back really to overpopulation.
And that's really why I picked it, just because I can see it, every day going around, whether you go to a national park that used to be deserted and now it's like Disneyland, or just commuting to work and you're in constant traffic jams. And like you said, it leads into everything. So starvation, habitat destruction, global warming, all kinds of things.
Shit. I love it. This is going to be a good one.
All right.
This is going to be a good one. All right. So now we have the flavor of what we're going to be going after. But before we get into that, let's get to the good stuff. You brought a couple of bad boys. Which one do you want to start with?
Yeah, so you told me to bring a beer I really like, and I'm typically drinking more for the effect than the actual type of beer. There's no real go-to for me.
Okay.
Know? So
there's no go-to.
There's no go-to.
It's like you're browsing the aisle and you're just like, what looks fucking good right now?
That's exactly it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I'm kind of the same way.
It's a different thing every time.
Yeah.
So I do like IPAs in general, and so I brought along a couple of local brews for us today. So
well done. The local folks love us.
Joseph James,
I think.
Hot Box,
Yeah.
an Imperial IPA, and I also brought Tenaya Creek.
Yes.
El Charro, a Mexican lager. So it's got
and look at that. It's got the skeleton right on it. This is perfect for that for October.
Absolutely.
You
for
did
the
well,
podcast.
Man. You did well. And I'm always looking for a good lager to drink, because my problem is I like to drink a lot of beer.
Yep.
Right? I like to drink a lot of beer. There's a lot of calories in beer. And, a lot of the better tasting beers also have really high alcohol content.
Absolutely.
So it's like a hangover and getting fat all wrapped into one little beautiful can. But the problem is, I would love to just be able to find a lager where I could have a couple of those bad boys and, not be wasted and not have, drank 1,000 calories. So let's hope this is the guy.
All right.
Yeah.
So you want to start out with El Charro?
Let's do it. Kind of ease into it. We'll ease into it, because I bet that hot box is that's got to be probably a 7-8%er.
Yeah, it's for the next level, I guess, when the conversation starts getting more intense.
Love it. Cheers, man.
Buddy.
Cheers.
Appreciate you having me. What'd you think?
I dig it, man. I dig it. For a lager, this has some good flavor.
It'll do the trick. This is actually the first time I'm drinking this one. I've had the Joseph James before, but I saw this at the beer store when I was headed over here, and I just had to grab it.
Dude, it's a good looking can. And you know what? I always feel like I forget about Tenaya, even though they're local guys. But I feel like, because I live on the south side of town, but you and I both work on the east side of town.
Yep.
And so we've got Craft House right over there. We've got who else?
And don't quiz me. I'm not good on the local breweries here yet.
But shout out to Craft House, because I fucking love those guys. They're awesome. But Tenaya is way up on the northwest side. They're way up there. And so I always forget about them. But they make really good beer. They do a good job.
I've had some of their other beers. This is the first time I've had El Charro.
El Charro. Yeah, no. So let's read about this beer. Do they have No, they don't have one of those paragraphs. So the reading will be short. It's 4.9% alcohol, which actually is not bad for a lager too, because a lot of those hover around 4%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got a little bite to it. It's got a kick-ass logo. It's like Dia de los Muertos. Actually, I think it's a little more.
I think that's
appropriate.
More appropriate. Yep.
Yeah. And it doesn't taste like cat piss, which is a good start for a lager. I feel like
absolutely. A lot of times they have that flat, bad aftertaste. But this one's a little bit better.
Dude, good choice. Good start.
Cheers. Yeah, like you said, I just felt it fit in with the theme, the whole Dia de, whatever you call it.
Dia de los Muertos, to all our Spanish-speaking friends. That's a badass holiday, though. So I have a 2-year-old. So one of the movies that I get to watch all the time, but I'm actually not mad about it, is Coco. Have you heard of Coco?
I've heard, man. I heard it's a good musical movie, but I hadn't seen it myself.
Yeah, it's basically about a kid on Dia de los Muertos who's trying to get in touch with his dead grandfather. Crosses over into the land of the dead or whatever. Great movie. This is not a movie review podcast, though. But
I've only seen Dia de whatever on was it James Bond movie or something?
That's right. That was the first. Wasn't that the opening scene or something like that of the Daniel Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But it would be cool to go down there and party it up in Mexico City and see what it's all about firsthand.
I hear it's a great fucking time. But they treat Dia de los Muertos, I believe, not that you can't party, you can have fun and everything, but it is sort of a respectful thing too. Yeah. Because it's the one day a year where you can. I think the spirits can cross over into the land of the living and interact with their families. All right. back on. I think I read this that it turns off after a half hour automatically. It's surprising that we've already gone almost a half hour. So anyway, back to overpopulation, which is definitely like a real scary thing. Because, the other thing too is that we're running out of water.
I think that's one of the most sensitive things in the near term.
Yeah.
is running out of water.
We're running out of water. Like, even we're seeing it here in America. Like, you always sort of say like, oh, it's probably like in a different continent, a different country that's struggling with all this stuff. It's like, no, this is the Southwest right now. Like, it starts with the Rocky Mountains, right? We get it from Colorado, which then comes all the way down, has to feed a lot of agriculture. Mm-hmm. Has to get a lot of shit done. We got to do a lot with this water between Colorado and California. And basically what I heard is like there was a water rights contract built between all the states that had the Colorado River running through it. And it expired. And now basically Colorado's like, well, fuck you guys.
They're just damming up all the water?
They're not damming it up, but they're taking as much as they want. Like they're just they're letting their farmers take as much as they want. And then by the time it gets to Arizona and Nevada,
there's nothing left.
There's almost nothing left. And then by the time it gets to California, there's nothing.
It's just a trickle.
Yeah, it's a trickle.
Yeah, that's really scary for us here in Vegas because there's obviously not a lot of natural water.
Well, you've seen the Hoover Dam, right? I mean, shit, that thing.
Yeah, see the water line now to where it was. It's significant.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see.
No, I think last year, maybe it was 2 years ago, but I think it was last year, there was like that whole big deal where Cape Town was like the first major city out of water in the world.
Yeah, and I remember that.
It was like a whole huge deal where they were, having to go fill up little water bottles and beg for water. But I can't imagine, imagine here in Vegas, we just ran out of water. And,
what would we do?
I have no idea.
You'd be in a crisis.
We'd be standing in lines for hours to get like 2 gallons.
Yeah. And probably charge like $20 for like a 2 liter of water.
Yeah. The people would price gouge like crazy,
But it's a reality. It's something that, unless we can figure out desalinization.
Yeah, and I think we can figure out desalinization. It's getting better and better, right?
Yeah.
So like they're figuring out new ways, whether using pressure or electricity to desalinate water.
Yeah.
But then there's also the cause and effect, right? So like then what does that do to the world's oceans?
To the oceans,
right?
I mean, what if the oceans drop by 50 feet? I don't know if that would happen.
Yeah.
Like if every single person used ocean water for their drinking, how far would it drop? Would it be like inches? Would it be feet?
I honestly have no idea. If you told me to just guess off the cuff, I would guess it would be like less than 10 feet.
Yeah.
But definitely measured in feet instead of inches.
You think so?
I do. But then there's the whole thing of this other issue that global overpopulation is causing, which is, global warming. And so that's causing glaciers to melt, so that's causing sea levels to rise. So maybe it could
it just counteracts.
even out. Yeah.
What about overpopulation freaks you out the most?
Just how it seems to be out of control and unchecked. And I'm not really for the whole China one-child policy. I think, we've shown that that's failed.
Yeah.
And to go back to that point, when I was traveling through China, I did see families with like 3 or 4 kids. So, it is no longer a thing, or if it is a thing, it's easy to get a permit or license to get additional children now.
You imagine
beyond the 2.
Like, I want to have another kid. Well, you got to apply for a license. Stop doing it. You can't have sex until you get this permit figured out. Like, that's just, I feel like in America, where we are just this gigantic experiment in self-government and freedom. Like, I'm not saying we're the freest country in the world, but we have certain freedoms that I think are probably stand on their own a little bit more than a lot of other countries, and probably most other countries.
Completely agree.
I think if the government ever tried to say like, hey, you can only have 2 kids, like, I feel like folks in the South and folks in like the Midwest would just be like, what the fuck?
No, there would be some protests and revolts. Yeah, absolutely.
There'd be an uprising. And it would just be on principle. It would just be on principle. Like, they'd be like, there would be families out there who have planned to stop having kids. They're like, we're done. And then this proclamation would come out, and they'd be like, "Fuck it, let's do it."
Yeah.
I'm pissed.
Yeah, I agree. I know all my folks back in the South, they'd be like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna." Are we allowed to cuss on this podcast?
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
Good deal.
The more, the merrier.
Yeah. So they'd be like, "Fuck you, I'm gonna have like 5 kids now." So. I know my sister back in Tennessee, she just had her 4th, so she's contributing to the global overpopulation.
That's all right. I think Amanda and I are done, so we're counterbalancing ourselves here.
There you go.
Yeah.
It all evens out.
That's right. And then actually on the other side too, this is the other crazy thing, which is like there are countries out there where the population is like flat or declining, and they're encouraging people to go have more kids because there is an economics other side to it, which is like as the population ages, you need a certain amount of people to be able to take care of those folks.
Yeah. If you have any kind of like social economy where you're relying on something like Social Security or some kind of benefits that are coming from the population, the working population,
right,
then it needs to get slightly bigger over time. I mean, it's sort of like the value of a currency, right? Like it's better if it goes up, if it slightly inflates over time. If you have rapid inflation or deflation, it's a problem. But if you can just incrementally
maintain that nice 3%, that sweet spot right there,
it works out for us in the business world.
Yeah, it does. But it is interesting though, because like I think those people, those countries that are saying like go out and have more kids because we need to take care of our aging populations, I do think that that's a little bit short-sighted, and I don't want to be like someone who bases all of their like solutions off of technology and the advancements that we can expect from technology. But I think we should also expect that. Like we won't need the manpower to do all the things that we're doing eventually within the next 5-10 years, maybe 20, whatever. Because at some point, technology should be able to handle a lot of this shit for us. People are talking about losing jobs. Well, that's part of it, right? Yeah. So like
that comes along with any kind of industrial revolution, right?
Right.
And I agree with you. I think this is not. Maybe this is why it doesn't keep me up at night. But I do think there's maybe not a silver lining is not the right term, but there is a positive side, right? So. The more population you have, the more chances you have to solve problems, to create new technology, to have the next, Einstein or Newton come along that is just going to change everything, and lead to a better future.
Right. As long as that population has the resources they need to, be able to think beyond just day-to-day survival. Because that's the fear. Is like we're basically like running along this line. Like if we ever get to the point where we don't have enough resources to take care of the people, then they're not going to be able to think about like, how can I improve this technology? They're going to be thinking like, how am I going to feed my fucking family tonight?
Yeah.
And if we ever cross that threshold, then innovation would probably plummet.
Yeah, that's I can't argue with that at all. I think what we need to solve this whole fear of mine is definitely technology and innovation, because otherwise we're just in a world of hurt.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Now, I was going to say, and I do realize that, my big fear is like one that's been echoed throughout the ages, and it's always been proven to be wrong. Like I don't remember who the guy is. Like it's one of those founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, one of those guys, was saying basically, the max population the U.S. could support, is like 1 million people or 10 million people, something like that. And then after that, there's going to be no more farmland, and we won't be able to support it. And then now look at us, we're what? We're definitely over 300 million, if not 350.
Yeah. I think we're right around 350 now. But I mean, but that's the problem, is when you make those kinds of predictions, it's based on current technology.
Yeah,
like that's so that's why you always got to be hesitant to say like a finite number. You almost have to just clarify everything with based on current capabilities, based on current technologies. This country could only support 10 million people, but obviously technology advances every year. So let me ask you this though.
Yeah.
With overpopulation, do you think the solution is domestic, or do you think the solution is starting to fucking send people to Mars?
Oh, that's a great question. So I think for me, the solution has got to be domestic first. So like, I love space. I would love to see the U.S. and the world in general make more investments into moving out into space and finding ways to colonize other planets. But we have a long ways to go, I feel like, in terms of making those planets self-sustainable, where they can support people without bringing resources from somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
I mean, like terraforming.
Like terraforming.
Love that word.
Yeah.
It's a good word.
It is a fantastic word.
Yeah.
Rolls off the tongue.
It does. But yeah, I think they said something like it would probably take about 200 years to terraform Mars.
Yeah, and so if we're moving out to other planets, then that means Earth has still got to support those for 200 years or whatever the time span is.
Yeah.
And going to another, solar system is just out of the question with current technology. Like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of years it would take to reach, these other star systems, but
isn't it crazy?
It is crazy.
Like, it's just not even close.
No.
Like, when you grow up and you're listening to like ideas about the universe and one day we'll be able to travel across the universe into different solar systems, and it's like once you actually learn about some of the physics, and I'm not a physicist by any stretch of the imagination, but like when you learn about this shit, it's like we have absolutely no way to really even leave the fucking solar system. Within in a lifetime you could do it, but like if you're talking about traveling day to day Star Wars type shit, like that's I don't want to say that'll never happen, but that's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, and it's so far away from what we are now that it seems unattainable.
Yeah, it's just there's no way, even if you were able to travel at the speed of light.
Yeah.
Or within 99.9% of it.
If you're able to travel at the speed of light, which is like the theoretical maximum, right? If you're not warping space, then that's still going to take, 4 years to reach the nearest star?
Yeah.
And then does the nearest star even have anything worth a damn to help out humanity? So.
Yeah. So it is interesting. All right, so you think we need to
I think we got to
figure out a domestic
solution first, just because we don't have terraforming down, right? Like, I do think there's opportunities with the Mars or more so with like a Venus, if you're able to get that atmosphere under control.
Venus apparently had an atmosphere very like Earth at one point.
I can believe it. Like it's the problem with Venus is it's just gotten out of control with global warming, right? And it's got
out
like
of control.
It's so acidic now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.